What if the greatest empire in history had never discovered its greatest weapon? No swords, no armies, just technology. Imagine a world where Roman roads were never built, where water never flowed. Concrete, that miracle of ancient engineering, had never been invented. There would be no roads connecting nations. Cities would not even have access to clean drinking water. There would be no empire to protect knowledge around the world. Now think about what that would mean. No Renaissance. No modern science. No democracy as we know it. Humanity, still stuck in the Stone Age. While the dream of civilization remains a dream to this day. So what if the spark that shaped our world never ignited? Would someone else rise to take Rome's place? Welcome to Specvio, where imagination meets history and the past is rewritten. Let us start with something obvious. Rome wasn't just powerful because of its massive armies. Rome's true power was its technology and its inventions. We're talking about a civilization that forged a path to immortality. Roman concrete, hard as stone yet flexible enough to survive centuries of storms, earthquakes, and time itself. Even today, scientists around the world study it and want to know more. Then there were the aqueducts, vast waterways stretching for miles, carrying fresh water from distant mountains straight to the heart of their cities. Think about it, millions of gallons flowing every single day, at a time when most of the world didn't even have plumbing. And those famous Roman roads? Yes, they weren't just dirt roads. They were built with precision, layer upon layer, built to last. In fact, some of them are still in use today, almost 2,000 years later. This is not luck in itself. Rather, it is years of labor and engineering marvels that have reached a scale that the ancient world had never seen before. These were not just inventions. They were the backbone of an empire, the hidden machinery that held everything together. They connected people, armies, ideas, and wealth from one end of Europe to the other. The roads of Rome carried more than soldiers. They carried culture, religion, and innovation. Its waters did not just move water, they carried the movement of life. Now put all that away for a second. Nothing solid, no roads, no water, just dust, distance, and disconnection. What would history be like if that genius, that spark of Roman innovation had never existed? That's the question we're going to go after. Let's start with something obvious. Warm, informative, conversational. Middle, rising wonder. Roman concrete, hard as stone. Tone shifts to admiration and fascination, crescendo. Some of them are still in use today. Emphasize wonder. What would history be like if those geniuses had never existed? So, what would happen when you erase all Roman genius from history today? When you erase their concrete, their waters, their roads, and there's nothing to replace them? You don't just lose technology, you lose connection to today. Without Roman roads, Europe today would be a maze of isolation. Trade would have slowed, armies couldn't move. Messages would have taken weeks, even months, to reach their destination. The greatness of civilization would have come to a standstill. Asterisk, asterisk, and that water, which continues to be used to this day, it wouldn't have reached the cities. No springs, no baths. Instead, disease, filth, and famine. The cities that never grew would have collapsed under their own weight and become even more ruined. Without Roman engineering, towns would have remained small, fragile, and dirty, places where a bad winter or a bad harvest could wipe out an entire population. And here's the kicker. Without Roman concrete, those magnificent structures we still marvel at today, the Colosseum, the Pantheon, the giant public baths, what if they had never existed? Imagine if there had been no great architecture to inspire the Renaissance. So perhaps there would have been no legacy of stone to teach future generations how to build. The world would have been stuck in an ancient loop, inventing, losing, and reinventing the same basic tools over and over again, a finite lifespan. Without Rome's technological spark, history would have been frozen in time, stuck in the Stone Age for centuries. Villages instead of cities, campfires instead of libraries, superstition instead of science. Humanity would have crawled, but never really moved forward. How terrible that would have been for humanity, a world without the light of innovation. Because without Rome's engineering, humanity would not only have been left behind, it would never have learned how to move forward. But if Rome hadn't led the world at that time, who else would have? Let's take a look at who stepped up to shape history instead. This is where things get really interesting. Because if Rome's technology had never existed, without Rome, Europe would never have had a great network of trade routes. Roads meant rapid communication, the movement of armies, the flow of ideas, as well as the convergence of minds, without which languages would have been scattered, cultures isolated, and innovation would have crawled rather than sprinted. It also means number Latin, and if there were no Latin, there would have been no basis for the languages we speak today, no French, no Spanish, no Italian, and even English would have been completely different. Without the Roman Empire spreading its rule, its law, and its sense of order, Europe might never have been united. There would be no common system, no common calendar, no outline of democracy or citizenship. Fast forward to the Renaissance, a period of rebirth when Europe rediscovered the knowledge of the ancients. But what if there were no ancient traditions to rediscover? No Roman architecture to study, no scrolls of Roman scholars to translate, no mathematical or engineering legacy to rekindle curiosity. Without Rome, there would be no Renaissance. And without the Renaissance, no Enlightenment. No Industrial Revolution, no modern science. Our entire world, from the buildings we live in, to the governments we vote for, to the words we speak, all echo the technological heartbeat of Rome. With a little thought, the fabric of modern world history begins to unravel like a thread pulled from the past. There may be no America as we know it, because the founding fathers, Jefferson, Madison, Adams, all built their perspective on Roman ideals. The Republic, the Senate, liberty. Without Roman influence, there would be no United States, no template for the modern world, no very concept of progress. The roads would never have spanned continents, and Europe would have remained scattered and silent. But when one power falls, another always rises. Perhaps the Chinese dynasties, with paper, printing, and gunpowder, would have expanded westward, making the Silk Road the world's superhighway. Or maybe the great civilizations of India, with their mastery of math and astronomy, would have become the intellectual capital of the world. Imagine if the New World, with its massive cities and observatories, had risen first, making the Americas the birthplace of global civilization. In this alternate world, the languages we speak and the history we know would be completely rewritten. So, was this world better or worse? Would we have found the same spark of progress, or would we be living in the shadow of the unknown? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Humanity could have remained divided forever. Its form would have been stuck in cycles of survival rather than discovery. No hospitals, no universities. No great works of art or law to guide us forward. The world might have been safer, to be sure, but simplicity is not always better. Without struggle. No innovation. Without the desire to build, no legacy. The longing for Rome, for all its flaws, drives humanity to dream big, to plan, to measure, to push the boundaries of what was possible. Without this drive, we would still be stuck in tiny huts. No space travel, no universal languages, no shared history. Just thousands of small disconnected worlds, each living in the shadow of what could have been. But perhaps that is the beauty of what ifs. Because even when history takes a different path, humanity always finds a way forward, one passion at a time. And that passion perhaps waiting for another place, another moment, another empire, to light its way forward. Yet, imagine if that momentum had never begun, if progress had come centuries late. What would our world look like today? This is where we are, thinking ahead. So here we are, a world without Rome's technology, no water, no roads, no solid cities. At first glance it may seem peaceful, simple, untouched, but look closer and you'll see what's missing. Without Rome's will, we lose more than roads and buildings. We lose momentum. That hidden push that drove humanity to build, to explore, to reach higher than ever before. Rome didn't just build an empire. It created a spark, a belief that humans could shape the world rather than just survive in it. Every road they built, every aqueduct that carried water for miles, every stone that created a lasting monument, was a message, a whisper from the past that said, we can do it. We can build something that will last. Without that spark, we might never have discovered electricity. The moon would never have been reached. The dream of reaching for the stars would never have been realized. Because progress isn't just about invention, it's about belief. And Rome believed that humanity could rise above its limitations. So perhaps the lesson here isn't just about what Rome built, but about what it inspired. That every empire, every civilization, every person who dares to dream, has carried a piece of the fire. We have built cities, machines, and dreams that reach to the edge of space itself. And that is worth remembering.